I have been a teacher for the last 10 years, and I was living in Australia for the 8 years of that. And Australia would be seen as a place that's 10 years ahead in terms of mental health. So I was very educated in what ways that we can look after children's mindsets. But I was still finding there was a huge gap within the curriculum, and there was something that wasn't sitting with the students where we were doing all this kind of wishy-washy mindfulness stuff and things that weren't practical. It was like an addition to their day or an addition to a lesson of we need to now do something to look after your mindset. And it wasn't until I came across Patrick's work through Dino, many of you might know him in Bondi Rescue. He's out in Sydney doing all of Patrick's amazing work through the Oxygen Advantage course that he did as well as I did. And Dino taught me how to do functional breathing, which seemed so silly. And I thought, what do you mean? How am I going to do this? So I went to one of Dino's classes, and up until that point, I was a huge Wim Hofer. You may know who Wim Hof is. I went and trained with Wim Hof last year in Poland, where I was doing a lot of hyperventilating breathing and the cold exposure and the crazy stuff. But that would be something I would do as an addition to my life. But no one taught me how to breathe through anxiety or stressful situations like Patrick talked about, even just going into the likes of Dragon's Den. But things like doing my driving test, if I had learned how to breathe properly, I may have passed it the first time rather than panicking in the driving seat before even starting the car. Exam situations, just even dealing with day-to-day situations or being at traffic lights or whatever it was. I went to Patrick last year in Galway. It's been a year since I've completed my training with Patrick, and it has completely changed the way that I now approach everything. I originally was just trying to advocate mental health online through my Instagram platform. And through working with Patrick and studying this course, I have now realized that there is a massive gap within education. And I have taken it upon myself to open a new business this year called Nurturing Minds, all thanks to Patrick, where I no longer am a teacher in a school because the curriculum wouldn't ever find the space for what we need to do to teach and educate students. And I now educate them on their mind, on their sleep, and on their breath, as well as doing the teaching and the tutoring with maths and English. What we're noticing in students is the focus levels, and parents are coming to me and saying, my student or my child can't remember their spellings, or we can't get her to do her homework at night, or this or that. And instead of looking at their report and seeing how they're doing in their exams, what I'm asking the parents are, how's your child sleeping at night? What way are they breathing? How is their mindset? What does their routine look like? What are their environment like? What's their environment looking like? Are they in a stressful environment? How are you guys at night? How is everyone in the family doing in the evening times that's creating this kind of scenario? So Patrick's work has taught me a lot. And with this breathing work that he has taught me in this functional breathing, it is done so easily that you wouldn't even notice that someone was doing it. And that's what I'm trying to teach these kids, is that you can be working on this day to day in a classroom situation or in a workspace or with people where you're feeling a little bit anxious or worried, and you're doing it without people even noticing. So this is functional. This isn't the hyperventilating stuff I was doing with Wim Hof. This isn't for Instagram. This is things that we all should have been taught. And my conversation with Patrick yesterday, I said to him, I should have learned this 20 years ago myself, because I would have suffered very badly with anxiety. So within the work that I did with him, it was originally for how to enhance my career, how to make me stand out from other competitors who are doing very similar things, because everyone seems to be jumping on the bandwagon at the moment, and not all for the right reasons. And I wanted to stand out in that sense. But from studying this, I realized actually I'm going to look internally and say, I haven't actually been doing any of these things myself. So not only have I been improving the health of many children, but also myself. And I've seen a huge change in my own life thanks to Patrick's work. So it's a huge practice. It's amazing. No one else will be able to take that away from you, no matter what it is, what career you're in. If you have this certification, if you have this study, if you have this work behind you, the science backs it up. And that's what's different to the wishy-washy stuff you see online.